Our chief guest, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, the Right Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, Honorable Ministers present, the Deputy Secretary General of the East African Community, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished delegates in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. On behalf of the Joint Organizing Committee, I welcome you all to the closing session of the conference. In a special way, I thank our chief guest for accepting to join us this morning, despite his very busy schedule. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. As we draw this first regional ministerial conference on the East African Community Common Higher Education area to a close, it is my distinct honor to extend heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your invaluable contributions. Our chief guest, over the past 2 days, we have engaged in intense discussions, constructive deliberations, and forward-looking reflections on the future of higher education within our region. Together, we have examined critical issues affecting the harmonization, quality assurance, mutual recognition of qualifications, and the mobility of students and staff across our partner states. These engagements have laid a strong foundation for the realization of a truly integrated East African Community higher education area. Allow me to acknowledge with appreciation the following: the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports for convening this conference. His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda for delivering such a rich keynote address and officially opening the conference. The Honorable Ministers of Education from our partner states for honoring us with their presence and instructive contributions. We also appreciate the keynote speakers, presenters, panelists, and discussants whose insights have enriched our collective understanding of issues at hand, and the session chairpersons for guiding the sessions. The Secretariat of the Inter-University Council for East Africa for excellent coordination of conference preparations. All partners and sponsors for the financial contributions towards the organization of the conference. And finally, the Joint Organizing Committee. Our guest of honor, I say joint because we had two organizing committees. We had a committee at the regional level, and we also had a committee at national level. So that is the committee, that is the joint committee that is being appreciated. So they are appreciated for working tirelessly to ensure the success of the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reaffirmed our shared commitment to the ideals of integration, academic excellency, and sustainable development through higher education. As we depart from this conference, let the resolutions and commitments we have made here be translated into tangible actions in our respective countries. It is through action that we will nurture a higher education system that is regionally integrated, globally competitive, and responsive to the aspirations of our people in the region. Chief guest, soon, the Inter-Universe Council for East Africa Executive Secretary, Professor Gaspar Banyakimbona, will be leaving us. He will be joining the AU Commission as Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation. This departure is no doubt a loss to the Inter-Universe Council for East Africa, considering the immense contributions that he has been making and he would be continuing to make. But it is a gain for the East African region, because we know that one of us will be there at the Commission. We congratulate Professor Banyakimbona and we wish him the very best in this very important assignment. Lastly, I wish you all safe travels back to your respective countries. May the partnerships and friendships forged here continue to flourish as we move together toward a stronger and more vibrant East African community common higher education area. Thank you for your kind attention. Asante sana, merci beaucoup.
Our chief guest, the Right Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, the Deputy Speaker, National Parliament, Republic of Uganda, the Secretary General of the East African Community, represented by Honorable Andrea Arik Malouet, Honorable Ministers here present, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Today marks a day full of joy and a sense of gratitude for a successful ministerial conference. When this idea was being conceived, it looked far-fetched, but now here we are at the closure. Our chief guest, this conference has demonstrated collective effort and the will to achieve a common higher education area. The conference has taken stock of the major milestone on the initiative of the common higher education area, reflecting on gains and the challenges, and positioning ourselves for the future innovations and forces that have shaped and continue to shape the higher education landscape in East African Community region. Our chief guest, my words today are full of appreciations. I want to appreciate the government of the Republic of Uganda. I want to appreciate the East African Community partner states for their unwavering commitment and for sending the best minds and highest representative for this conference and turning the dialogue in this conference into decisions. I want to appreciate IUCA member universities and other higher education learning institutions, higher education stakeholders, higher education partners for their continued and enabling support and participation to this conference. Our chief guest, in a very special way, I want to appreciate Professor Mary Okwakol, our sister, a scholar, a leader, and all the heads of councils and commissions for higher education for their vision. They nurtured this conference. Their leadership brought it into life. You are the architect of convergence, and East Africans salute you today. I want to appreciate the organizing committees. I want to appreciate the core, I would say, engine in the room which made all this happen the way it happened. Dr. Aine, Professor Michael Mauer, may you stand up from where you are for recognition. Thank you very much. Your calm under pressure and the quiet dedication shaped the soul of this conference. Thank you very much. Our chief guest, in a very, very special way, I want to recognize 28 IUSEA member universities, which generously committed to support the journey towards a common higher education area by committing to deliver scholarship to young East Africans in the program called East African Student Mobility Scheme. We have prepared a certificate, but I understand that time may not allow to do that, but they are recognized formally for their contribution to the journey towards the East African common higher education area. Our chief guest, ladies and gentlemen, as the chairperson of organizing committee just highlighted, I stand here before you today, a few weeks away from transition to my new assignment at the African Union Commission in the very same noble sector of education, science, technology, and innovation. My heart is full of memories, full of pride, and full of gratitude. For 4 years and 6 months, I have had the opportunity and privilege to serve Inter-University Council for East Africa, and through it, serving you, our cherished stakeholders. Every policy drafted, every framework harmonized, every student exchanged, every qualification recognized, you were there with us. You believed in us, you pushed us, you partnered with us. Thank you very much to our ministers. Thank you very much to our permanent secretaries. Thank you very much to our development partners. Thank you very much to our vice chancellors and directors. Thank you to the people of Uganda. And thank you to my beloved IUCA staff. I consider them not my team, but my family, and without them, I wouldn't have made it. Our chief guest, this conference has taken stock of milestones and challenges, and I believe IUSEA will continue to champion this cause as the heartbeat of regional academic integration to push boundaries, to break silos, and turn frameworks into futures. And as I prepare to serve at continental level, let me assure you, I'm not leaving East African community. I'm expanding my service to you. The mission remains the same. The passion burns brighter. To our chief guest, thank you very much for honoring us with your presence today. Your leadership inspires to aim higher. To each and every delegate, thank you for your time, your energy, your brilliant minds, and your joyful spirit. These 3 days felt like 3 hours because purpose meets passion and times dance. Thank you very much.
Our chief guest, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Republic of the Parliament of Uganda, Right Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, the representative of the Secretary General for East African Community, honorable ministers, and all of you present, allow me, chief guest, to stand on the protocol as had already been highlighted by the first 2 speakers. Our chief guest, I'm going to share with the people present here and to you, chief guest, the ministerial communique that has come out of this first regional ministerial conference of the East African Community Common Higher Education Area that has been held here in Kampala in the Republic of Uganda on the 11th of September 2025. Preamble. We, the ministers responsible for higher education in the East African Community Partner States, Republic of Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of Kenya, Republic of Rwanda, the Federal Republic of Somalia, the Republic of Southern Sudan, the Republic of Uganda, and the United Republic of Tanzania. We meeting here in Kampala in the Republic of Uganda from 9th to 11th of September 2025 for the first regional ministerial conference on East African Community Common Higher Education Area under the auspices of the Forum of the Chief Executive Officers of National Councils and Commissions for Higher Education in East Africa, the Inter-University Council for East Africa, and with the partnership of other national education agencies, vice chancellors, and other heads of institutions, students' representative, professional bodies, industry partners, and the development partners, having convened under the theme, Enhancing Regional Integration through Harmonized Higher Education Systems for Sustainable Development in East Africa, to deliberate on progress, challenges, strategies, and the accelerated operationalization of the East African Common Higher Education Area in fulfillment of the obligation under the East African Community Policy and legal frameworks, and in alignment with Africa's continental and global development goals. Recalling the Treaty of the Establishment of East African Community, particularly Article 5, 102, 103, and 104, which commit the partner states to promote harmonization of education systems, curricula, examinations, and certifications, as well as the mutual recognition of qualifications to facilitate free movement of people and regional integration. The second recall is that the Inter-University Council of East Africa Act of 2009, particularly Section 4 and 6, which mandate the Inter-University Council of East Africa to coordinate the development of higher education and research to foster common higher education space in the region. 3. The Common Market Protocol 2010, particularly Article 11, which obliges partner states to mutually recognize the academic and professional qualifications granted, experiences obtained, requirements met, licenses or certifications granted in other partner states, and harmonize their curricula, examinations, standards, certifications, and accreditations of education and training institutions. 4. The Declaration of the East African Community on the Common Higher Education Area, made by the East African Community Heads of State on the 20th of May 2017 in Dar es Salaam, United Republic of Tanzania, which marked a milestone in the harmonization of higher education systems in the region. Recognizing, 1, the central role of higher education in producing skilled, innovative, and adaptable human capital necessary for driving the region's socio-economic transformation, technological advancement, and accelerating deeper East African community regional integration. 2, the tremendous efforts made by the partner states in establishing unique and quality higher education systems that have shaped and contributed to the development of skilled and knowledgeable graduates necessary for national and regional development. 3, the progress made by the partner states and the Inter-University Council of East Africa, Inter-University Council of East Africa, national councils and commissions for higher education and other stakeholders in developing and implementing relevant regional higher education frameworks. These include the East African Qualification Framework for Higher Education, the Regional Qualification Quality Assurance Framework, the East African Community Credit Accreditation and Transfer Systems, the East African Regional Program Accreditation Framework, and the Research Excellence Framework for Higher Education in East Africa. 4. The growing opportunities for collaboration in cross-border education and research, and in student and staff mobility, both within East Africa and in collaboration with other continental and global academic partners. We are acknowledging the persistent challenges facing higher education in the region, and these include disparities in policy and regulatory frameworks across the pattern states, evidenced by the uneven alignment of national, legal, and policy frameworks with regional higher education frameworks. 2. The limited financing of higher education and research, constraining institutional capacity and innovation, systems enhancement, and the full implementation of the East African Common Higher Education Area. 3. Limited infrastructure for modern teaching, research, and innovation, especially in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. 4. Limited digital connectivity and integration of technology in the teaching and learning and in the management of higher education institutions. 5. Disparities in the adoption of mutual recognition arrangements for academic and professional qualifications. 6. Suboptimal intra-East African community academic mobility occasioned, among other things, by underfunding, enforcement of directives of the Council of Ministers, charging the same fees for students coming from the East African Pattern States region with the local teams, and that the fees are charged in local currency, limited policy framework in some pattern states to implement common tuition fees for students from other pattern states. And lastly, the existence of visa fee charged on students and other professionals from another pattern state, thus affecting student and labor mobility. Big challenge number 2 is the need to strengthen the linkages between higher education systems and other regional development priorities under the East African Community Vision 2050 and the African Union Agenda 2063 and the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030. 3. The essential support of development partners, the private sector, the international education agencies in capacity building, infrastructure development, and policy harmonizations. The deliberations of the 3 days brought out the following. The ministers considered reports and recommendations from technical sessions addressing the current status and gaps in the operationalization of the East African Common Higher Education Area and the extent of compliance with regional higher education frameworks. 2. Legislative, policy, and regulatory reforms required to align national higher education systems with the East African regional frameworks. 3. Strengthening the East African community higher education quality assurance to ensure compatibility, transparency, credibility, and portability of qualifications across the region. 4, enhancing the RQAF, another framework to ensure robust and consistent quality standards in all pattern states. 5, the strategies to expand academic and professional mobility through harmonized admission criteria, joint degree programs, innovative student and staff mobility schemes, and the mutual recognition of qualifications. 6, accelerating digitalization of higher education, including virtual exchange programs, online learning platforms, and open education resources by the leveraging existing and emerging digital technologies to promote open and distance learning and increase higher education access, with paying attention to the need to harmonize the regulation of digital tools and the use of AI in the teaching, learning, and research. 7, addressing equity in higher education, ensuring access of marginalized groups, and promoting gender equity. And finally, designing sustainable financing models, including dedicated regional funds, public-private partnerships, innovative resource mobilization approaches, and financing a regional student mobility fund to deepen academic mobility and regional integration. As a result of this deliberation, these are the resolutions, Chief Guest and members. Resolutions and commitments. We, the Minister, hereby reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the full operationalization of East African Common Higher Education as a mechanism to strengthen academic excellence, facilitate knowledge mobility, and serve as an engine for deepening regional integration, socio-economic transformation, and global competitiveness of the East African region. 2, we resolve to align the respective national higher education systems with regional higher education framework requirements without imposing uniformity. 3, we commit to enhance mutual recognition of academic and professional qualifications through development of relevant regional frameworks for mutual recognition academic and professional qualifications to promote seamless mobility of students, staff, and professionals across the region in line with the East African Community Common Market Protocol 2027. We resolve to harmonize national higher education policies, legislations, and regulatory frameworks, including accreditation frameworks with East African Community Regional Instrument, including the EAQFI, these ones I had read before, by 2030. 5, promote the integration and regulation of digital, open, and blended learning systems, including cross-border e-learning platforms and virtual exchange programs to widen access, improve quality and learning outcomes, and enhance resilience against disruptions in the delivery of higher education. We commit to mobilize sustainable financing for higher education through national and regional resourcing pool mechanisms, development cooperation, commercialization of research, and private sector engagement. And finally, we commit to empower the East African, Inter-University Council of East Africa to work with the commissions and councils of higher education to develop mechanisms to monitor and report on alignment of institutional frameworks with regional frameworks. Directives to stakeholders. Inter-University Council of East Africa, in collaboration with the Forum of CEOs of National Commissions and Councils of Higher Education, to develop and disseminate detailed guidelines to assist higher education institutions in integrating East African regional frameworks into their own institutional policies and academic programs. The IUCEA shall report annually to the Sectoral Council for Education, Science, Technology, Culture and Sports on the status of the East African Common Higher Education implementation. IUCEA and the Forum of National Councils and Commissions for Higher Education to fast track the full implementation and the periodic review of the East African Common Higher Education, and to establish and maintain a regional database of accredited institutions and programs publicly accessible across the pattern states. Pattern states to designate national focal points to coordinate the East African Common Higher Education activities, monitor progress, and ensure effective linkages between national and regional structures. Pattern states also to ensure the full implementation of the Councils of Ministers Directive to charge the same fees to students coming from all other East African pattern states as locals, that the fees are charged in local currency. Pattern states are requested to expedite the removal of visa requirements charged on students and other professionals from other East African Community pattern states to promote regional mobility. National councils and councils of higher education to ensure that higher education institutions oversee institutional alignment of education systems with regional framework. IUCEA, in conjunction with Forum for CEOs of National Councils and Commissions for Higher Education in East African pattern states, to develop a proposal for the establishment of a regional mobility fund. And finally, development partners are encouraged to align their investments in higher education with East African regional priorities, focusing on capacity building, infrastructure development, digital transformation, and research collaboration. As a follow-up mechanism, we agree that the Regional Ministerial Conference on the East African Common Higher Education area shall be convened biannually, with the national councils and commissions for higher education driving the coordination at the national level, and IUCEA serving as the secretariat to review progress, share best practices, and address emerging issues and adopt new policy directions. Right Honorable and Chief Guest, the next interministerial conference will be hosted by the Republic of Rwanda in 2027. Expression of appreciation. We express our profound appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of Uganda for their warm hospitality, and the IUCEA for its leadership in coordinating the organization of this historical regional ministerial conference on the East African Common Higher Education area. We acknowledge the great work of the Forum of CEOs for National Councils and Commissions for Higher Education in East African pattern states for the great coordination of this event at the national level. We also recognize the variable contributions of the development partners, the private sector, academia, professional bodies, and student bodies whose engagement, expertise continue to shape the future of higher education in the region. Our chief guest and Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, this is the communique that this great congregation of the ministers of East African Community have come up with. I submit.
Good morning. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, the Secretary General of the East African Community, the Secretary General of East African Common Higher Education area, honorable ministers and cabinet secretaries of education of East African partner states, honorable members of East African Legislative Assembly and the Ugandan Parliament here present, permanent secretaries, principal secretaries, and the secretaries of key ministries for East African Community member states, government official here present, the executive secretary of IUCEA, Professor Gaspar Banyangimbona, heads of commissions and council for higher education for East African partner states, vice chancellors, rectors, provosts, director general, directors and principals from IUCEA member institutions, representative of professional bodies present, distinguished speakers and presenters, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my colleagues, ministers, in my capacity as the Minister of Education of the Republic of Rwanda, it is my singular honor and privilege to deliver this vote of thanks at the conclusion of what has been a truly historic ministerial conference on the East African Common Higher Education area. Allow me, on behalf of us all, to extend our profound gratitude to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, for gracing the official opening of this regional conference. We salute his steadfast statesmanship, visionary leadership, and lifelong commitment to East African integration process. His presence and keynote address elevated this conference to the highest political level and reaffirmed the centrality of education in shaping the destiny of our community. Our gratitude also goes to Her Excellency Janet Museveni, the First Lady of Uganda, the Minister of Education and Sport, and our convener. Her wise words at the start of conference set the stage and guided our deliberations. We most sincerely thank the government and the people of the Republic of Uganda for their generosity, hospitality, and excellent organization of this conference. Kampala has been an inspiring host city, and the warmth with which we have received has made our deliberation smooth and fruitful. Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, please convey our gratitude to the government and the people of the Republic of Uganda. To the East African Community Secretariat, the Inter-University Council for East Africa, and the Forum of CEO of National Councils and Commission for Higher Education, we extend our deepest appreciation. This conference is a culmination of years of tireless work, technical coordination, and unwavering dedication to the vision of harmonized and competitive East African higher education space. Your technical stewardship has ensured that we are not only speaking of aspiration, but also setting clear resolutions, commitment, and timeliness for action. To all policymakers, heads of higher education commissions and councils, vice chancellors, scholars, student, and development partners, we extend our sincere thanks for your invaluable participation. Over the past 3 days, our sincere thanks, and we have, apologies, we have shared experience, debated ideas, and forged consensus. The richness of your contribution has strengthened our collective resolutions to make East African community a beacon of education excellence, research innovation, and human capital development on the African continent and beyond. The conference has reviewed our progress and, more importantly, called us to action. We have recognized challenges, uneven policies, limited financing, gaps in implementation, and the urgent need for digital transformation, research, and sustainable funding. Yet these are not obstacles. They are opportunity to innovate, to collaborate, and to show the strength of East African unity in overcoming shared challenges. We leave Kampala with a renewed sense of duty. The communique we have adopted is not just a document, it is a political commitment, a roadmap, and a call to integrate regional frameworks into our national laws, policies, and institution practices. Our universities, our students, and our society will be the ultimate beneficiaries of the commitment we have made at this conference. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we close, let us remain guided by the spirit of our community, one people, one destiny. The East African Common Higher Education area must serve as the engine that drives not only the mobility of students and staff, but also the exchange of ideas, innovations, and solutions that will transform our economies and societies. Finally, I wish to thank each and every participant for your dedication and for the spirit of solidarity you have brought to this gathering. I wish you safe journeys back to your home countries, carrying with you not only memories of Kampala, but also the determination to implement what we have agreed here. May this conference be remembered as the beginning of a new chapter in a higher education story of East Africa, a chapter of unity, excellence, and transformation. Mwebale nnyo, murakoze cyane, asante sana, merci beaucoup, thank you.
Cabinet ministers and secretaries from the East African partner states, the Secretary General of the East African Community, members of parliament, heads of foreign missions and diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen. As we conclude this historic ministerial conference on the East African Community Common Higher Education area, allow me to express profound gratitude for the energy, wisdom, and commitment you have invested in these deliberations. We have gathered here not merely to exchange ideas, but to chart the future of higher education in our region, and what a future it must be. For with over 331 million citizens in the region, the majority under 25 years, the East African community holds in its hands a demographic treasure that will determine the destiny of our nations. When we look at other regions, we find valuable lessons. In the United States, a population almost identical to ours, about 335 million, is supported by nearly 4,000 degree awarding institutions serving 19 million students. A coherent national framework ensures mobility of students and academic staff, seamless transfer of credits, and a robust research and innovation ecosystem. In the European Union, the Bologna process has created a true European higher education area. Students and staff move across borders with ease, qualifications are mutually recognized, and joint degrees are common. The result is not only improved quality and employability, but also stronger European identity and competitiveness. By contrast, when a region lacks a coherent higher education area, the costs are heavy. That is, missed opportunities for students who are denied mobility because their credits are not recognized across borders. Duplication and inefficiency as universities and states work in isolation rather than in harmony. Loss of talent and innovation as researchers seek better integrated systems abroad. A growing gap between the aspirations of our youth and the capacity of our institutions to deliver. We cannot afford such a fragmentation in East Africa as the stakes are too high. I'm pleased to learn that this conference has boldly confronted these realities. Listening to the ministerial communique, I'm glad to learn that together you have charted a way forward which includes, among others, building a seamless East African higher education area where credits, qualifications, and talent move freely. Establishing a regional digital mobility platform to simplify applications, placements, and funding. Strengthening mutual recognition of qualifications with attention to new frontiers such as micro-credentials and recognition of prior learning. Mobilizing sustainable financing through a regional mobility fund, blending public resources, private sector investment, and development partner support. Embedding equity safeguards so that women, persons with disabilities, refugees, and disadvantaged students benefit fully. Harmonizing policies and laws and providing oversight to ensure that the resolutions of this conference translate into actual meaning. Honorable Ministers and distinguished delegates, as we close this gathering, let us live with a renewed determination that East Africa must not lag behind. We must not allow fragmented systems to rob our young people of their future. Instead, let us unite to build an East African common higher education area that rivals the developed countries in integration and positions us to compete globally in scale, innovation, and excellence. Together we can transform higher education from a patchwork of national systems into a coherent regional powerhouse, a force that will drive economic growth, social cohesion, and continental leadership. I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the organizers, the National Council for Education, the Inter-University Council for East Africa, the Forum of CEOs of councils and commissions, and our partners for making this first regional ministerial conference a success. I also commend the honorable ministers, cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, and all participants for your active engagement and commitment. As we depart from this conference, let us do so with renewed determination to implement what we have resolved. May the spirit of East African unity inspire us to compete favorably with the rest of the world, and may safe journeys take you back to your nations, carrying with you the shared dream of one community, one people, and the higher education area. It is now my pleasure, after all other remarks that are coming up, to declare the first ministerial conference on the East African Common Higher Education officially closed. I thank you for your attention, and grace, and God bless you all. Janet K. Museveni, First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports. And Honorable Muyingo is going to be with you here to listen to the final remarks that are coming up. Now the anthem will be after as we close, because the minister from Rwanda still has remarks to make. And I'm told there is one photo which we are going to take, so that I rush for another function. I want to really sincerely apologize for interfering with the program.
Okay.
It's how the day is scheduled. It's beyond me. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. We understand that you have very pressed commitment, and the closing ceremony will end here to allow the chief guest to join the ongoing commitments. We'll take that photo, we'll get directives on who is going to take part into the photo, and then we will stay where we are to allow him to leave, and then the program will continue. So the closing ceremony is closed, but the program will continue. Thank you very much. Let's applaud to him again.
Can we, ministers and CEOs of commissions, they are very important. They are the ones who are hosting. Yeah, can we ask the ministers to take seats, and the CEOs of commissions to stand behind. Plus, yes. The CEOs of commissions and the ES. The ministers will take the seats. And the chairperson of council is must join the vote. Yeah, and the chairperson of executive committee. Yeah. Yes, those ones will represent us. Honorable, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, we know because of time, but there has been a very good exhibition around, and centers of excellence and commissions, and the ministers have been able to attend it, and you take note of them. You are also eager to see you, but we shall be able to explain to you and give it to you on digital. But we thank you for the time, and we thank you for being able to join us. Thank you. Thank you. You are done? Okay. Now we